If you are consistently delivering high performance at work, but remain invisible, this video is not here to improve you or correct your behavior in any way. It exists to diagnose a structural design flaw inside modern organizations that quietly erases certain professionals while rewarding others who appear more visible. If you are a quiet high performer whose effort keeps increasing while visibility stays flat or declines, this pattern is not random. In this video, I am naming the mechanism behind this pattern, and it is called the Visibility Optimized Evaluation System. Most people were trained to believe that competence, effort, and reliability naturally translate into recognition, advancement, and long-term career security. Inside large organizations designed for scale, that assumption no longer holds because systems prioritize predictability, clarity, and risk reduction over deep understanding. Modern evaluation systems do not observe people directly, but rely on simplified signals that can be processed quickly by managers far removed from execution. These systems are not malicious, emotional, or personal, but they are aggressively optimized for speed, efficiency, and decision-making under uncertainty. At this point, here is what the system actually sees when it looks at your performance. Intelligence introduces complexity into environments that must make fast judgments, and complexity slows systems designed to move forward without hesitation. When judgment slows down, systems do not interpret this as depth or quality, but as friction that threatens stability and control. As a result, organizations do not evaluate real value, but how easily value can be summarized, displayed, and repeated. This creates a visibility-first evaluation system where legibility matters more than contribution and presentation outweighs substance. In this system, your work does not disappear because it lacks value, but because it fails to register clearly on organizational sensors. A signal is not what you know, how hard you work, or how critical your contribution actually is over time. A signal is how easily someone unfamiliar with your work can understand and retell your contribution without asking follow-up questions. When your contribution is complex, indirect, or preventative in nature, it becomes increasingly difficult for systems to translate it into simple metrics. What cannot be translated efficiently is often ignored, regardless of how essential it may be to long-term organizational success. This is why many high performers experience a growing gap between effort and recognition as their careers progress inside large institutions. They continue producing results, but those results stop converting into visibility, ownership, or narrative control. From the system's perspective, visibility reduces ambiguity, and reduced ambiguity lowers perceived organizational risk. This is why confident presentation frequently outperforms quiet accuracy, even when the accuracy is objectively more valuable. Noise is easier to classify, easier to reward, and easier to explain upward than nuanced insight or preventative problem solving. At this stage, the system begins applying a predictable form of structural visibility bias. Over time, this dynamic produces a selection process that favors individuals whose work is visible, simplified, and easily summarized. Less capable individuals may continue advancing not because of superior skill, but because their signals align with system incentives. They reduce ambiguity for decision makers, appearing safe, predictable, and manageable within standardized evaluation frameworks. To understand how this feels on the ground, consider a scenario many experienced professionals recognize immediately. Imagine a senior engineer who resolves a critical issue deep within a system before it becomes visible to customers or leadership. The system stabilizes, deadlines are met, and no escalation occurs because the failure never reaches public awareness. From a managerial viewpoint, nothing happened, because stability produces no visible signal worth recording or rewarding. Now contrast this with a project manager who introduces a modest but visible process change during a formal meeting. That change is discussed openly, documented in slides, circulated through email threads, and referenced across dashboards and reports. This visible activity produces artifacts, language, and ownership markers that the system can easily recognize and reward. The system does not reward the quiet prevention of failure, because prevention leaves no visible trace inside reporting structures. Instead, it rewards activity that can be observed, categorized, summarized, and attributed upward through hierarchy. Not because one contribution is more valuable, but because one is legible to the evaluation mechanism and the other is not. Over time, high performers who operate quietly become operationally essential but strategically invisible within organizational narratives. This invisibility compounds slowly, creating a widening gap between responsibility and recognition that is rarely addressed directly. Many professionals respond by increasing effort, assuming that more output will eventually correct the imbalance. The system interprets this not as increased value, but as increased dependency on your continued availability and reliability. As this pattern persists, internal strain accumulates while strategic visibility continues to decline. This is how burnout begins in high-performing individuals, not as emotional collapse, but as a mechanical overload response. Burnout functions like thermal throttling in a machine under sustained pressure, reducing performance to prevent catastrophic failure. Your body is not betraying you in this process, but attempting to preserve long-term functionality under structural strain. Meanwhile, organizational narratives continue advancing those whose work remains easy to explain, package, and attribute. This is not a communication problem, a confidence issue, or a personal failure on your part. It is a predictable side effect of a visibility-optimized evaluation system operating exactly as designed. If this pattern feels familiar, You are not imagining it, and you are not alone in experiencing it. This video is not here to offer solutions or teach you how to win inside the system. It exists to name the mechanism clearly, so you can recognize it for what it actually is. If you want continued system-level analysis instead of reassurance, subscribe to Workplace Strategy Lab. In the next video, we will examine how visibility itself is engineered, manipulated, and controlled inside modern organizations. That is where the next protocol begins.